Hello and welcome to episode 6 of this video blog documenting my journey into the World War II tabletop wargame Bolt Action. My name is Gareth, and in this episode I will be adding the French Army support group to my early war French force. I got this set directly from Warlord Games via the online shop. Purchasing models this way does come with an added benefit, and I will show you that a bit later on in this video. Let's open this up and see what you get. This is a metal set with plastic bases. You will remember from episode 2, the video I made on the Blitzkrieg German support group, that I really do prefer plastic over metal. But given that early war French armies are a growing but still less popular choice for bolt action armies, options in plastic are limited. Anyway, this is simply a personal choice, and I know many people who prefer metal over plastic. This set costs £28, I think that's about $35. That does not include shipping, which of course is extra. In this box you get one officer with a pistol, one officer with an SMG, one medic, one radio operator or spotter, one medium mortar, and one MMG team, and plastic bases. It's a nice little self-contained kit, giving you all the additional options that you would need to fill out an early war French army for the tabletop. Nice crisp detail on the models, full of character. If I were to have any criticism of this kit, it would be that the machine gun is very brittle, and I will be amazed if it doesn't snap off at some point. In addition to the French Army support group, I also purchased the Citroen civilian truck with canopy. Again, this was a direct purchase from Warlord Games. It's a solid resin truck with metal wheels and axis. No instructions, and I can't see how you attach the front wheels, which is a bit of a problem, but as has been suggested previously, I've emailed Warlord Games with my failure, and I'm awaiting a reply from them. I thought it would be a good idea to get this truck, as I can use it as a transport for my French force, and if I paint it up in a standard green, which I plan to do, then I can use it as a bit of terrain for any of my bolt action boards that I put together. With my order, and rather unexpectedly, Warlord Games threw in a free miniature. I was given a Skycarax leader. I have no idea what game system this is from. Maybe it's part of the Gates of Antilles range that Warlord do, but I don't know what I'll do with him yet, but it's nice to get something free from them, and I will find some project to incorporate it into. Onto the building. As with the Blitzkrieg German support group, my first job working on these metal miniatures was to clip off any of the stray bits of metal that had been left over from the mould. Then I broke out the files and got rid of any of the remaining mould lines and sanded down the bottom of the miniatures so that they would be flush with the bases when I came to glue them. It's really nice to be back at the start of 2023 working on this project and editing videos. Before Christmas, like many people, I was hit with a nasty cold that was going around. After this I then caught COVID, but luckily it was mild, but it was enough to make me feel too rough to work on any of my hobby projects. And then we had Christmas and New Year, and it's hard to do any work over the festive period. But now I'm back, and I'm looking forward to getting back into my starting bolt action project, as well as lots of other hobby projects and other things to post on this channel. Working on the truck was not difficult. All I had to do was scrape off the excess bits of resin and clip bits of the loose metal. To be fair, it was a decent model for a solid resin print, and should paint up very quickly. As per the instructions that came with it, I washed the truck in warm soapy water to get rid of the releasing agent from the resin process. I am not sure why they didn't include any assembly instructions. If they had added instructions on the need to wash the model, then why couldn't they pop in a simple building guide? Even a very rudimentary guide would have shown me how to put the troublesome front wheels together. I won't be finishing the truck on this video, but I will work on it in between projects. Onto the base coating. I have moved away from Citadel base coat sprays. They have become just a little too expensive for me. Having looked around, I've decided to give the army painter a go. I think this was a good choice. The Army Painter colour primer left the models with good coverage, and I didn't notice any drop in quality from the Citadel sprays. I only encountered one problem with the new spray. I have bought from the Army Painter before. In fact, I used the company for my varnish. Unfortunately, the can of spray painter and the can of varnish look very similar. So similar, in fact, that I stuck down 5 completely finished and based miniatures. I stuck them down to give them a final spray of varnish, and to my horror, with one confident sweep of the spray can, I managed to coat these 5 finished models in grey primer. I am sure, once the pain has abated, that this will make a funny tabletop gaming war story to share. While I waited for the primer to dry, I carried on with some basing that I needed to do. Basing is something that I've always neglected. After spending hours painting models, I always was content with gluing some sand down, painting it brown, adding some grass tufts and calling it a day. But I have come to realise that spending a bit of extra time and really thinking about what you want to do with the base can really bring your army together and make it stand out on the tabletop. Onto the painting. I painted this setup in an identical way to my Wargames Atlantics French infantry from episode 3. For a more in-depth painting guide, I have put a link to episode 3 above, just in case you wanted to check that out. I won't go over every paint that I used, but I'll just briefly outline some of the main ones. From the Citadel range, I used Mournfang Brown for the rim of the base and wooden parts of the weapons, Zandri Dust for dry brushing, Leadbelcher for the gun barrel, Runefang Steel to highlight the gun barrel, a mix of Cadian Fleshtone and Ratskin Flesh for the skin, and Deathworld Forest for the tunic. From the Vallejo range, I used chocolate brown for the boots and German camo orange ochre for the backpacks. Then I used Nuln Oil as a shade. I'm still getting real problems with this as a shade, and I may have to look at other options. For basing the weapons teams, both the mortar and MMG had a foundational layer of Citadel's Sterland Battlemire. This is a technical paint from Citadel, and I have used it on the German MMG and mortar, and I really liked the effect. I waited for this to dry, and then I gave it some pretty heavy dry brushing with Zandri Dust. To tie these models in with my 30 or so French infantry that I've already painted, I added in some autumn orange to the base. This will give the whole army a nice uniformity once finished. And here we are. I am pleased with how they have turned out. They were quick to put together and they painted up really well. I have not yet finished the spotter or the medic. The spotter I will paint up in the next week or so. For the medic, I will leave this, as I have left the German medic from the German support group, until I have purchased some French and German casualty models. I want to place them on a slightly larger base to make more of a diorama piece. In terms of where we go next with this project, I have the terrain to finish from episode 5, and I think my next purchase will be some artillery. I understand that the French get, as part of the national rules, a free extra artillery piece, so I will get 2 of them. I will probably buy 2 of the same, and they will probably be the 75mm gun. And for the Germans, I will probably get a Pak 38. This I think will be nice and thematic with the Fall of France campaign. I hope you have enjoyed this video. I am really happy to be back at it again after Christmas, and I look forward to making some good progress in 2023. I will continue with my early war Germans and French, as well as some terrain and planning a new game board. I am also at that point where I will pick up the rule book and the army books. I've watched a good number of battle reports, so I feel like I have a good sense of the game, but I do need to sit down and properly read through the rules. This is something that I'm not great at doing. I have been really surprised and really very grateful with the support my channel has received. I started this as a way of keeping me on track and giving me motivation to get things built and painted. Like many, I have my own dreadful pile of shame, half-finished projects and miniatures that I probably will never get around to building. I didn't want Bolt Action to fall into that pit of shame, so posting videos I thought was a fun way to almost force me to get into building and painting them. But since then, interaction with the community has been amazing. Not only has it helped my motivation, but the comments and feedback have been so helpful. They have given me ideas for future projects and pointed me in the right direction when I have needed it. If you have enjoyed these videos and want to see where the project will eventually lead, please do consider subscribing and commenting with your thoughts on what we are doing. Thank you again for watching, and I will hopefully see you next time.